right, Michael. So let's jump in and talk a little bit about just kind of an overview. What is Miro, previously known as RealTimeBoard?
Yeah, so Miro is it's kind of like the Google Doc of whiteboard tools, is the way I see it. Is like, it's an online digital whiteboard that has like an infinite canvas that you can use to do all sorts of really cool stuff on, from like literally drawing on the screen digitally to creating lead model canvases. It has sticky notes. I mean, it's really anything you can do on a whiteboard except digital, and you can see what everyone else is looking at or doing at that time too.
I love that it is, the old name was better because it is real time.
Yes.
Although maybe that's a little redundant anymore, but literally being able to see other people working in the same space as you are is a really powerful part of it.
Totally.
What do we use, in general, what do we use Miro for?
So we use it a lot for design sprints. That's one of the key things that we like to do there. And originally we started using Miro for remote design sprints because we do have clients that are scattered not only nationally, but sometimes internationally as well. And so it's a really valuable tool for us to cut down on some travel costs. Even though always getting in a room is always best, Miro is like a really great tool to help us out with some of those unique situations. And so going beyond that, like, you also have work after design sprints to do, and you don't want to like have to take pictures of the whiteboard and then like reconcile that.
We've been there, we've done that. It's
it's a mess. And so this allows like that life of those work sessions to live on. Yeah. That's just one key example that I'm a huge fan of, but it can be used for so many other things. Like, what are some of your favorites?
Well, and I think I'll just echo what you said, that really it becomes an artifact for us. So whether it was coming out of a strategy session or a design sprint, or just even a meeting where we were kind of saying, well, how can we visualize this together? Yeah. We have an artifact now that we can go back to, and it's shared. Even if, again, not everybody's in the office to look at the wall again. Right, which is really important. Well, let's jump in. So let's do a real quick overview maybe of what are some of the core features of Miro and some of the basics, and then maybe we can touch a little bit on some of more of the complex features. Yeah. You want to hit it?
Let's do it.
So first off, we have the board itself.
Yes.
So you talked about an infinite canvas. How to unpack that a little bit? Is this what do you mean by infinite canvas?
Yeah, so like infinite canvas is nice because you can basically zoom in or zoom out as really as much as you want. And this is really great because you can have multiple like product strategy and product management exercises all on the same board. Right. So you can do like different exercises, but it can all be part of one board if you need to reference stuff from other exercises, for example.
Well, and I'm actually seeing a feature that it has right now, which is actually permission rights, which is a good thing, actually. There's a lot of apps that it's kind of like all or nothing. You can't get in or you can edit everything. I think maybe you invited me to a different email address. So
yeah, actually, no, I just sent you the private link. So let me turn on that permission.
Yeah, great. So one of the cool features is we at certain points in a project, we'll want to kind of lock down our assumptions about something. So I know one of our product teams, they are actually using this for diagramming out database modeling. And so after they get their database modeling, they kind of want to lock that down and say, this is what we're going with right now. We don't want it to change. And so there is an option to kind of say, nobody can edit this anymore, and this is a finalized artifact, which is good. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump into the basic features. On this canvas, we have obviously the kind of what board I'm on there at the top left, allows you to make sure you're working in the right space. And in the top right, we kind of have our ability to see who else is here. I can see ML, Michael, you're here. And then I would see those circles stack up as we see more people come into the room. Yeah. And then there's some basic share features, which are pretty normal for anything that you use as a collaborative doc.
Right. And actually with the sharing features, or excuse me, the people features, so you can actually turn on and off the cursors. So you can see as people move their cursor around, you can see if someone's focused on the specific part of the board that you're working on.
So maybe walk us down the things that we have here on the left in our toolbox.
So first off, you've got your standard cursor, mouse movement if you want to drag things around. But the second option is you have a templating feature. And this is really cool.
It's awesome.
This is great because it helps us jumpstart like any of our various product activities that we want to do on our team. They have a few recommended ones. My favorite go-to is the user story map. That is just absolutely incredible. Because
it's a process that we were already doing, and they had it ready for us, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you can actually preview items as well if you want to see what they would look like. And what's great about this this tool, when you like look at activities like user story maps, is we can actually export the final product to like a tool like Jira, which helps keep our processes seamless and moving from tool to tool.
I love integrations. Okay, so going past the templates, and Miro, by the way, you can create your own templates. So I've done this in a couple pieces here where I created a lean model canvas. There are other canvas templates already built in, but there wasn't one that was specifically the lean model canvas. So I can create it for myself, and then I have one that I actually shared with the team as well, and it looks like there's several other shared ones in the team.
Yeah, this has been really helpful for us to standardize our processes across all of our product teams. So there's just standard retrospective templates and strategy and alignment templates that can be a go-to, so we can dive in quickly to anything that we need.
Yeah, the T.
Text
the T always the text, right, which is the basis of understanding what we're talking about.
Yeah, so this is just a standard text tool. This is a text tool. I mean, that's pretty much it. There's not too much to it. It does have a bunch of formatting features that come with it, which is really nice if you want to get fancy with how you're moving and positioning things across the board. One of the things I really love about this, though, is that like it helps me visually set up a board before going into any sort of, say, team activity where we're using Miro as the main tool for that. This is really nice to go and kind of give it that Crema touch before we like jump in to using it. Same thing with adding images and stuff, which we'll get to a little bit more later.
But I think out of the box, what I love about it is it's really, they've done a good job of, from a UX perspective, of kind of keeping it as simple as possible. So that those kind of added extra features are out of the way until you need them. Which just makes it a much easier to use product at first.
So getting a little more complicated though, then we go on to what's that next one?
The stickies. Basically, the sticky notes, which is, I mean, we should have stock in sticky notes, right?
Oh my gosh,
we used to have competitions for how many sticky notes would get used in a strategy session. And this is in many ways replaced a lot of that for us. So the sticky notes are really powerful in this, not only from a basic size, but also a color palette, and then being able to do some kind of more robust things, which I can see you typing as you go, which I love that real time. Gosh, lost the name. I love that instant view of what you're doing there as well.
And I love like just how many options they give you in terms of how you can actually use these sticky notes. Like just beyond the text formatting and stuff, you can tag them, you can change the size of the sticky notes, and like you have that variety with the sticky notes that we do with the same physical sticky notes we use in all of our strategy rooms.
And they do a good job as well. They kind of have these presets, so even as I'm moving this box around, it kind of goes to kind of the 3x5 size stickies to the 4x4, or I guess it's 2x2s, and it makes you feel like they're real stickies rather than being some weird awkward canvas that I'm trying to design on. I think it has the perfect balance of not being a design tool, but really being a collaboration tool. Now, you can design it if you really want to nerd out, but by default, it makes you feel like it's got constraints to keep me in the focus that I should be in at the time.
Absolutely, and I think it even goes a step further beyond the physicality and representing that of sticky notes, because it has this really super awesome bulk mode. So we've all been there where we're sitting down and we're just hammering out user stories as like kind of a backbone to review with the team, and we can just add multiple sticky notes to the board at once, which is really just incredible and allows us to quickly get up to speed with what we want in our digital boards.
That was a great feature to go into when we needed, again, have this kind of private like idea generation space, and then have everybody drop their ideas out onto the same board. Being in bulk mode actually kind of blurs out the background and allows you to really be focused, which I thought was cool. It was really cool.
Absolutely. Boxes and arrows. So this is like kind of your standard, like being able to draw various shapes and whatnot. What I like about this though is just like you can actually use these to help create like frames and which is kind of like groupings of content on that board. You can add like, and I think this actually goes for any kind of object on a Miro board. You can also like add links to these, which is really, really great. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. It just does such a great job of taking like the physical whiteboard and adding like, doing that really well digitally, but then also adding all the benefits of like technical benefits on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of shapes in here. It's a huge library of shapes. There's kind of the basic ones right out of the box, but yeah, it's shapes. I mean, it's pretty much like any other tool for that. Okay, so jumping into lines, let's connect it all
Yes.
together so we can start to create relationships between things.
Yeah, so what do you like about that?
For me, this is how my brain works, right?
Yeah.
So we've used other tools in the past. Murally is probably our Mural. It used to be called Murally, then it was called Mural.
That's right, yeah.
And I've kind of followed them for a long time, and they really did a lot of the same things. But one of the things they struggled with was this connector line tool. And the things that they didn't do well, Miro does brilliantly, which is when I make a connection, so there's this idea of saying I can connect two objects. So I'll connect one of these feature A's to this feature over here. And if we want to, we can even you can grab a dot here and connect it to a piece of text. So pretty much anything can connect to anything else. But what's really nice is that as I move those things, it holds that connection. And then even little things like as I'm moving around, it's jumping to the side.
Yeah.
It's such a nice little UX thing where somebody thought, oh, well, if I pull too far this way, I'm going to make that connection come around the edge.
Yeah.
When I've used diagramming tools where the dot's still connected over here and you're having to figure out which side it's on, it always drove me crazy.
Yes.
So that does it really well. It also gives you the option to kind of pull the line out around features. So you can start to create multiple anchor points, which allow you to draw around maybe things that it's going under or over, which is nice, which is really nice.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just so natural. Where so many tools, you have to work against the tool in order to get to work. This just works for us.
Totally. Add to the line, you can do your arrows. And there's a lot of different arrow options, which is really nice. You can have arrows go both ways, which is pretty standard with any diagramming tool, but they do it, again, just really elegantly.
Yeah.
Man, every time I get back in here, I'm like, oh, they thought through that the right way. I would love to meet that product team because I'm sure they're a lot of fun to collaborate with.
Absolutely.
Beyond that, so we talked about arrows. What's next?
Looks like the pencil tool, the pen tool.
Yeah.
This.
I feel like you use this more than anybody else I know.
Yeah. Yes.
I love this.
So being remote, working out of DC, away from our HQ in Kansas City, this has been invaluable for me. This has allowed me to emulate the feeling of being in a room with our team actually up at a whiteboarding. Instead, what I do is I pull up Miro on my iPad and I take my pencil and I go and I'm able to just freeform draw, just like an actual whiteboard marker. And everyone's able to see this in real time as if I'm drawing it in front of them.
Yeah. I think the iPad usage is where that tool is most powerful. It's a little weird. I mean, I've never really loved drawing freehand with a trackpad or a mouse.
Me too.
But with a pen, it feels really good. So when you're using the iPad, which they have a brilliant iPad app, but it's really feature parity all the way across.
Yeah.
That pen tool becomes really powerful. It's really nice.
Totally. And I think one of the things that really has helped me when I use this remotely is I still run all my remote meetings off of a Mac. I've got a big monitor in front of me, but because Miro is so great at handling multiple user sessions, I'm able to also log in on my iPad and just pick up my pencil and use it to draw on kind of the whiteboard whenever I wish. I think there's one other cool feature though, which it has this smart drawing capability.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm terrible at drawing circles. And so if I were to let's try it there. Maybe it's not on.
It does.
Oh, there it goes. Yeah, sweet. So if I'm able to draw something that resembles a circle, it will automatically convert it to a perfect circle.
So smart. Again, just feels really, really natural. So I think let's just touch real quickly. You don't have to get on all these. There's a commenting system, so you can drop comments pretty much anything on the board. Yeah. I don't know how much you use. I don't use that a ton.
It's been honestly one of the best kind of hidden features I wasn't thinking of when I started investing in Miro. But it's actually turned out to be one of the most valuable things because as you're working in say a design sprint, people can go through it. It's just the nature of the knowledge work that we do. People are going to have additional thoughts on things you've moved on from. And that's what the commenting system has really proven to be useful for is I'll be facilitating a design sprint and I'll start seeing comments pop up on other things that we can later go back to. Just because that's how our minds work. And it's really cool. It's a way to get up and go to the whiteboard without distracting anybody.
And I got to be honest, I've never actually made a comment like this, and seeing that you can resolve comments, you can color code them, you can actually reply and have comment threads inside that comment.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, you can do emoji reactions and all sorts of stuff.
Which feels very much like Slack for us. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it pops up notifications.
You think we could get a score bot integration on the...
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Beyond there, you talked a little bit about how you can use shapes as frames, but they also have preset frames. So if you wanted to kind of give yourself a container for the space that you're in, you can actually do that with creating either a frame for the size that would be more like a desktop aspect ratio, or a mobile, or even an A3 kind of print size. Feels really nice if you're trying to do some prototyping work. I don't use it a ton if I'm diagramming, but I know that some of the teams, you guys use it when you're thinking about maybe organizing information and framing that way. It's really nice.
Yeah. And I think, kind of jumping over the standard uploading button feature next, it's just your standard uploader. What I love is they've got so many other tools and kind of their kind of junk drawer. It's not a junk drawer. It's just
the kitchen sink.
Yeah. I think that's a better way to say it, including things like wireframe. So if you wanted to start wireframing out a browser experience, you can do that as a team.
One thing I use a ton is when I'm trying to put together kind of a mood board or an idea board, I'll actually use the Google image search, which a lot of tools have, but this one does it pretty well.
Yeah.
So I actually just recently put together a diagram talking about a user journey map. And in that user journey map, there are different tools that people might use. So you might say, well, I need to use YouTube during a certain part of the user journey, and being able to come in here and go, I just need the logo to kind of make sure that I represent that. I can grab a logo real quick, it imports it, drops it in, and then I have this nice crisp PNG that looks awesome when I'm laying it out to kind of tell the story of, oh, well, you know what? This feature is going to connect to YouTube. Right?
Yeah.
And that's a really powerful way to do things. It makes it feel like a much more robust experience.
Definitely. I mean, and there's just so many other things in their kitchen sink that I haven't even had time to really dive into, because there's just so much there. But from what I've tried, it works so well. Like being able to capture a web page. There's those times where we need to annotate a web page that is maybe being redesigned, and we can actually do that collaboratively using Miro. Being able to do even sticky recognition to bridge the physical with the digital.
Have you used it yet? I haven't tried it yet.
I haven't used it yet.
We should try it.
If it works as well as the rest of their tool, I'm gonna trust it.
I would completely agree. Lots of integrations. There's even more apps that you can pull in, and they're always adding to this, which is fantastic.
Yeah, their marketplace has a lot of stuff that looks fun to experiment with, like being able to pull things over into Jira if you want. It even has a sketch integration, so you can pull in sketch designs and review those as a team. Yeah. So it's got
so
all
much.
sorts
We
of
haven't even
stuff.
scratched the surface. There's so much more there. Okay, so then in the bottom section here, there's a number of different ways that you can kind of think about your presentation modes, how to toggle certain features on and off. I don't know that we have to go through that, because I think maybe we can touch on some of these things as we talk about how we do things from a remote standpoint.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our channel, where in part 2 of this video, we'll talk about where Miro gets used in our remote teams.